In this presentation, we will continue on with our closing process for the comprehensive problem. We are on journal entry 2 of the 4-step process within the closing entries. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. Last time we closed out the revenue to the income summary, taking revenue out of the revenue account into the income summary. Step 2 of the 4-step process is to close out all expenses. So our goal now is to make all these numbers go down to 0, and then we're just going to put the difference into the income summary. This is the longest journal entry because there are more expenses than any other type of account on the income statement, but it's the same principle, not too difficult to do. So we're going to say first wages expense. So it has a debit. We're going to do the opposite thing to it, credit it. So I'm going to copy wages expense. We'll scroll back up. I'm going to skip a line because we want the credits on the bottom. So I'm going to put it here in B9, right click, paste 1, 2, 3. I'm going to indent it, which is probably done for you already. Home tab, alignment, increase indenting. We're going to put that in the outer column. So I'm just going to put a credit of 6,500. So there we have it. Then we'll go to the utilities, same thing. It has a debit balance in it. We're going to do the opposite thing to it, credit it. So I'm going to copy the utilities, put that right underneath, paste 1, 2, 3. The amount is going to be negative or credit 1,300. Then we're going to go to supplies, do the same thing. It has a debit. We need to credit it. So I'll copy supplies expense, put that in B11, right click and paste 1, 2, 3. It has 11,000 debit. So we will credit it negative 11,000. Then we'll do the same for the depreciation. It has a debit. We need to credit it. So we're going to copy the depreciation expense, put that underneath, right click and paste 1, 2, 3. It has 1,000 debit, so we're going to credit it to make it go down. So we'll put a negative 1,000. And then we'll do the same for the insurance. It has a debit balance. Notice all the expenses, of course, have debit balances because they only go one way. They only go up in the debit direction. So we're going to do the same thing for all of them. So we're going to copy the insurance. We're going to put that in B13, right click and paste 1, 2, 3. And the amount's going to be a credit or a negative 1,000. And then the telephone, last one, it has a debit balance. We're going to make it go to 0. So I'm going to copy that, put that in B14, paste 1, 2, 3. And then the amount is going to be, once again, a credit or negative 1100 to make it go down. Now, so those are all the expenses. Now the difference is going to go to the income summary. And I'm going to indent all these. So I'll highlight these. Home tab, alignment, indent. The difference is going to go to income summary. So we're going to sum all these up, and the debit, which we'll put on top, is income summary. So I'm going to right click and copy income summary. We'll put that on top in B8, right click and paste 1, 2, 3. Now you may be thinking that there should be an easier way to do that using formulas and whatnot, or so we could do that a lot faster. I'm just going to show you to do it a lot faster. It's useful to see it done step by step so that we can see it. And now let's do it, kind of the fast way. So if we do it this way, we can say this equals this account. And now we know that the relationship is the same all the way down, so I could just put my cursor there and autofill until, I get to the bottom. If I go too far, oh, whoops, total, that doesn't belong, so I'll just go back up, and that's okay. And then we can do the same for the numbers. This is a debit, I want to credit it. So I'm going to go to the credit side and put a negative of this number. And then we can just autofill that down. And same thing, it'll take the relative references. And then if we highlight these, the 6,005 plus the 1,003 plus the 11,000 plus the 1,000 plus the 1,000 plus the 1,100 adds up to 21,900. So if we took the calculator and added those up, 21,900. That, of course, is what the debit should be. We're going to do that with like the plug formula, negative sum formula. So negative SUM, double click the sum. If this is in the way, you can move it. I usually go from the bottom up if that's in the way, but if it's in the way, you can move it. If you didn't want to move it, you just go from the bottom up instead of the top down. I like to highlight both columns just because that's if there was any debits in there, that would help. I mean, that would pick them up and then enter. So there's the 29. So if we highlight the whole thing, debits minus the credits equals 0, or the credits equal the debits. Now, just one thing to note, be careful here. Like when we pulled this number, notice we picked this number up from this side. If you picked it up from this side, you'd end up with a problem. So let's just demonstrate that. If I picked this number up from this side, it looks the same, but I'd have a problem. Why? Let's try to post this out. I'm going to post these out, and these should go down to 0. I'm going to post it here into H23 by saying equals and pointing to that 6,500 and enter. And it says, there are one or more circled references where a formula refers to its own cell, either directly or indirectly. This might cause them to calculate incorrectly. Try removing or changing these references or moving the formula to different cells. So it says that you can't do that. See, it's what and why. So this is a common reference, so I just want to point this out. What we said is this cell, we picked it up from here, and then we posted this here, and then this number is calculating this plus this. So the software is saying you can't put this number there and then use it to get this number here and then calculate this number, because there's a circle reference is what they call it. So just if you see that, we need to pick it up from this side, and that'll make it go away. Or you can hard code it in there, just type in a negative 6,500. So again, that's just a common thing. So we'll continue going down. That goes down to 0 like we expect. Now we'll do this one, wages expense, posting to H24, where we say equals and point to the utilities expense. And then we've got supplies, so we'll pick up the supplies here. So we are in H25 equals, we'll point to the supplies and enter. Then depreciation, here's depreciation, equals, point to that number and enter. So we're bringing them all down to 0. And then insurance, so we're in the middle column, equals, point to the 1,000 and enter. And then telephone, we're in the middle column, equals and enter. And that brings them all down to 0 as we want, as we would expect. We just need to record the other side, the income summary side. Now again, you might say there's an easier way to do that. We could use formulas. So notice these are all relatively the same. So I'm just going to demonstrate, if we delete these and do it one more time, this is pulling from this number, and the next one, of course, should be pulling from this number. So if we just autofill it down and put our cursor on autofill and drag that down, it'll pick up all the relative references that we want here. And if we wanted to check that, we could say, is that picking up, that should go there, that should go there, that should go there, that should go there, that should go there. Picks up what we expect. So that is that. And then the income summary needs to go here. There's already something in it, so we'll double click on it, go to the end of it, say plus, point to that 21,900, bringing the balance to 7,100. That puts us back in balance. So we've recorded those 2 journal entries. We've achieved the goal of making all income statement accounts 0. And now we can check if the income summary is correct right now. How do we know it's correct? Because after closing out revenue and expenses, it should have net income in it. So it has net income transferred there. So we closed out revenue and expenses to it, which of course should result in net income. So this 4-step process can kind of tell us, we can say, is everything working? Well, these should all be 0. That's good. This number should represent net income as it does here. And net income, I'm going to go to the financial statements, represented on the income statement here, which it does. Going back to the closing tab. So that means, okay, that looks good. Now we can continue on with the closing process, which is to close this out to the retained earnings account. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.